Welcome back. Last but not least, here's part 3 of the bedroom studio tour. This is the good part where we get to see all the cool gear. Welcome to stereo effect land. Everything here is independently wired into the interfaces, so I can independently send and receive stereo to each one. Eventide space, incredible reverb, timeline, amazing delay, big sky, incredible reverb, Ventris dual stereo reverbs, which I absolutely love. I've been doing a lot of ambient stuff with analog synths, and it's been a big help in achieving some pretty incredible sounds. Likewise with the Nemesis delay, 2 stereo delays that you can coordinate and do anything you want to with. The cool thing about all 3 of these from Source Audio is they have corresponding apps. So I've got a USB cable coming out of each one of them into the computer, and you can program everything from the app and get into so much more detail than is available on the front panel. Not to mention an unlimited number of presets. It's deep. It's really, really fun to tweak. So this does reverb, this does delay. This is actually 3 different kinds of stereo distortion. It's like a bass distortion for bass guitar, and then fuzz, and then some sort of like an AC30 or Fender distortion. I can't quite remember, but it is also very, very useful. And then the H9, well, it does a little bit of everything. But I normally use this with Bluetooth, so I can control it in terms of automation and preset selection from my iPad. So I absolutely love the Peak. I use this every chance I get. It's so versatile in terms of the different sounds you can get. Plus, the effects really sound amazing. The Verb has a really nice long tail, and having polyphonic synth that also has built-in effects is really great. This is an incredible delay. It's a little pricey, but it's like a performance delay. So these knobs are just asking you to play, and a lot of times I will route this on a separate channel in the return from Cubase to its own audio channel. Instead of printing the delay with like the percussion track that I'm delaying, I'll print it on its own and then go in and kind of cut it up, because I'll just run the whole tune in real time and kind of mess with the cutoff and the distortion and resonance especially. It's got a couple of different filters. It's a multi-mode filter, but usually I have it on tape ping pong, so it's constantly going back and forth. And I've got it on bandpass, so it's a very narrow band that's kind of getting scooted back and forth. You can get some really incredible, I mean, basically performances out of this delay. This is one of my 2, I guess you pronounce it Mayo, I'm not sure. It's iConnectivity, so it has 12 MIDI ports on it. I've got lots of external synths, so I need lots of MIDI. So this is one of the 2, the other one's still packed up, which I will unpack in the final studio. Love this mixer, an Ashley LX308B. So some synths are going straight into the back of the interface, and others, TG77, the Korg, the Peak, the Sub-37, the Prophet, the Nord, and then the DeepMind are coming through the Ashley. And what's great is it's an 8-channel stereo mixer. So that doesn't mean that you're limited to 4 stereo synths. It literally is 8 stereo channels. Not the same as 16 mono, because if you want to choose mono, you do right channel only. So like the Sub-37 is right channel only because it's mono, so it's taking up 2 spots. But it's super clean and has lots of gain, so it's kind of my option for the synths that are kind of standalone and don't need to have a lot of extra stuff on them. So it's going out of the Ashley and into this Art, which is just a tube stereo mic pre. And I've had both of these together for a pretty good amount of time now. And actually, the Art is set on normal for everything. Everything's at unity or 0 in terms of additional gain. And by nature, it just sort of adds maybe 10 or 12 dB of super clean, tubey gain to the mixer. So it's just kind of helping with the line in is really what it comes down to. This is my Moog of choice at the moment. I've got 3, but they're all the smaller ones like this. This is the Subsequent 37, which I absolutely love. Works really great with a VST editor too, which makes it super easy to recall patches, and you just can't beat that sound. So to the left, I used to have my little Arturia Mini Brute 2 with the kind of baby modular setup. I was doing a lot of effectual, textural kinds of things. But that job is over, and now I'm doing something new, so that is in storage along with 2/3 of the rest of my studio, and I was able to get out a couple of really fun keyboards. So the Prophet 10 probably needs no introduction. It's incredibly huge and fat, and a lot of times I'll use the Prophet in conjunction with the Matrix 1000, which I completely forgot to mention, that was in the first rack underneath the interfaces. That's a 6-voice polysynth from the 80s that it's like the biggest, fattest, cleanest, loudest synth in my arsenal. But basically, it's an Oberheim. This is sequential circuits, and the two of them together sometimes make some really amazing pads. I'll literally just double them up, kind of the way I would like if I were orchestrating strings and horns or something. So this is an incredible 10-voice polysynth. This is a 12-voice polysynth, the Behringer DeepMind 12. I was surprised how much angst and analog drippy anger I could get out of that. And then on the next patch, make some beautiful analog strings. So a lot of times I'll end up dialing something in on the Prophet, but I'm already using the Prophet for something, and I'll sort of copy it up to the DeepMind, which is essentially like a Juno 106. That's kind of how they copied it. They modeled it after a 106 and then just gave it 12 voices, which is amazing. And then the Nord Lead A1 is another thing that I love, which is all virtual and all digital, but it's got 26 voices. And I didn't even know this when I got it. It's 4-part multi-timbral. So everything that's up here on this little panel, the filter, obviously, all the envelope controls, it's got a delay, a reverb, and what it basically calls effects that you can switch between like a chorus or a drive or a flanger or an ensemble effect. All of that times 4. So each one of these 4 parts has its own settings and own independent stereo effects. So literally, it's like having 4 keyboards in one that then you can divide the 26 voices between. I use this a lot for analog sounds. Actually, all of these synths, I'll be using them for the same kind of idea where I'm trying to make it sound like an analog synth. This one does that no problem. This one kind of does it no problem as well. This one it cuts through the mix. That's the way Nords have always sounded to me. So I can use it for like a low pulse, and that low pulse will be heard no matter what, even when it's filtered. It just has a very specific kind of sound, where the Prophet, let's say, is a little fizzier and rounder, not in a bad way, in a good way. And then, I gotta tell you, the DeepMind sounds like anything. I pulled up a patch that was called like Moog Bass and compared it to my Sub 37, and it was just as good. I think blindfolded, no one would be able to tell the difference. They sound different, but they both sound equally amazing. Same thing with the Nord. And the fact that I can use 4 channels at once, 4 different sounds in real time, really makes a big difference. Because a lot of times I've got 4 sounds from this, patch from here, a patch from here, a patch from the Oberheim, something from the Sub 37, something coming out of the Peak, and those are all running into the computer with different effects and things on them. And it's not that easy to just say, well, I'm just gonna print it so I can do another patch on, let's say, the Prophet. Because a lot of times I want to get it finished that day and print everything maybe at the end of the day. And it's nice to have that versatility to not have to sit there and like just run it to tape. I'm old. Not just digitize it, record it into the computer and then do like 5 different Prophet patches. And if I want to change something, then I have to go back and recreate it. No one wants to do that. This way it's all in one. Hope you enjoyed looking at the space. I promise there are more videos coming soon, more music, more demolition, more building, more construction, more drywall, more patch bays and audio snakes and synthesizers and guitar pedals and all kinds of great stuff. See you soon.